Article 1. The history and impact of the Great Depression on global economies. The Great Depression, which began in 1929 and lasted through much of the 1930s, is considered one of the most devastating economic crises in modern history. Triggered by the stock market crash of October 1929, it led to widespread economic hardship in countries around the world. The immediate cause of the depression was a sharp decline in stock prices, but underlying issues such as income inequality, agricultural distress, and banking failures also contributed to its severity. The global nature of the crisis meant that no economy, from industrialized nations to developing countries, was left untouched. In the United States, the impact of the Great Depression was catastrophic. Unemployment soared to nearly 25%, and many businesses were forced to close their doors. Banks, too, were not spared, as many failed under the weight of bad loans and dwindling deposits. This in turn exacerbated the economic crisis, as the failure of banks led to a collapse in consumer confidence, making it harder for businesses to secure capital and for individuals to access their savings. The effects of the Great Depression were felt across Europe as well, particularly in countries that had been heavily dependent on American loans in the aftermath of World War I. Germany, in particular, was hard hit. The country was still reeling from the reparations imposed by the Treaty of Versailles and had borrowed heavily from American banks to rebuild its economy. When those loans dried up, the German economy crumbled, leading to widespread poverty and political instability. While the initial effects of the Great Depression were harsh, the long-term consequences were equally profound. Governments around the world began to take a more active role in managing their economies. In the United States, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs, which included public works projects, financial reforms, and social safety nets, were designed to stimulate economic recovery and prevent future depressions. These policies marked a significant shift in the relationship between the government and the private sector. The Great Depression also led to changes in global trade policies. As countries sought to protect their own economies, many resorted to protectionist measures, such as tariffs and quotas. The United States passed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act in 1930, which raised import duties on foreign goods in an attempt to shield American businesses. However, this only worsened the situation by stifling international trade and deepening the global economic downturn. The social consequences of the Great Depression were equally profound. In the United States, widespread poverty led to the development of Hoovervilles, makeshift shantytowns named after President Herbert Hoover, who was blamed for the economic collapse. Families were torn apart as people migrated in search of work, and the psychological toll of long-term unemployment and poverty had lasting effects on many communities. This period also saw significant shifts in the roles of women and minorities in the workforce, as traditional gender roles were challenged by economic necessity. Globally, the Great Depression played a role in the rise of authoritarian regimes. In Germany, the economic crisis fueled public discontent and helped Adolf Hitler rise to power, promising to restore the nation's economy and national pride. Similarly, in other parts of Europe and Asia, economic instability paved the way for the emergence of dictatorships as people sought strong leaders to pull them out of the crisis. While the Great Depression officially ended with the onset of World War I, its effects lingered for decades. Many of the policies implemented during the 1930s, particularly in terms of social welfare and government regulation of the economy, remained in place long after the economy had recovered. The crisis also changed the way economists and policymakers viewed the role of the government in managing economic cycles, leading to the development of Keynesian economic theories that emphasized the importance of government intervention during periods of economic downturn. Article 2. The science of artificial intelligence in natural language processing. Artificial intelligence (AI) has been a transformative force in many areas of modern life, from autonomous vehicles to healthcare diagnostics. One of the most significant applications of AI, however, is in the field of natural language processing (NLP). NLP is a subfield of AI that focuses on enabling computers to understand, interpret, and generate human language. As society becomes increasingly digital, the ability of machines to process language is crucial for everything from virtual assistants to translation services. This passage explores the science behind NLP, the role AI plays in it, and its growing importance in various sectors. At the core of NLP lies the concept of language modeling. Language models are algorithms that predict the likelihood of a sequence of words. Early models were based on rules and statistical methods, but recent advancements in machine learning have shifted NLP towards neural network-based approaches. These modern models, such as the transformer architecture, have allowed AI systems to perform far more sophisticated tasks, including text generation, machine translation, and summarization. The key to this leap in capability is the ability of neural networks to process large amounts of data and learn contextual relationships between words. One major breakthrough in NLP has been the development of models like GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer, and RT, Bidirectional Encoder representations from transformers. These models rely on deep learning techniques that process enormous datasets to understand language contextually. Unlike earlier models that focused on individual words or phrases, GPT and RT can comprehend the nuances of an entire sentence or even a paragraph. This contextual understanding enables them to generate human-like text, to answer questions, and even perform creative writing tasks. It's this ability to grasp context that has made these models powerful tools in real-world applications. Despite these advancements, NLP still faces many challenges. Language is inherently ambiguous, and words can have different meanings depending on context. For example, the word bank can refer to a financial institution or the side of a river. AI models often struggle to understand these distinctions without large amounts of annotated data. Another hurdle is the complexity of human emotions, idiomatic expressions, and cultural references, which can be difficult for AI to interpret. These challenges highlight the limitations of current AI models and underscore the need for further research in this area. One area where NLP has had a significant impact is in sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis uses AI to detect emotions in text, allowing companies to gauge public opinion on social media or analyze customer feedback. By classifying language as positive, negative, or neutral, sentiment analysis tools help businesses make informed decisions. However, understanding emotions through text remains a complicated task, as sarcasm, humor, and subtle nuances can often elude AI models. Despite these difficulties, NLP systems are improving, and sentiment analysis has become an invaluable tool in business intelligence. The evolution of NLP has also revolutionized machine translation. Earlier translation systems relied heavily on grammatical rules and direct word mappings between languages, which often resulted in clunky and inaccurate translations. Modern AI-driven translation systems like Google Translate utilize neural networks to learn from vast datasets of multilingual text. This approach allows the AI to capture not only the meaning of individual words, but also the overall structure of a sentence, resulting in more fluent and accurate translations. While these systems are far from perfect, they have greatly improved over the years and continue to evolve with the help of NLP advancements. Looking ahead, NLP is set to play a central role in shaping the future of AI, from improving human-computer interactions to aiding in the analysis of large-scale textual data. The applications of NLP are vast and varied. With continued advancements in AI, the potential for more sophisticated and accurate language models seems limitless. One exciting possibility is the development of systems that can not only understand language but also generate creative content indistinguishable from that produced by humans. As AI research progresses, the boundary between human and machine communication will continue to blur, opening up new possibilities in areas ranging from entertainment to education. Article 3. The influence of Islamic architecture on modern design. Islamic architecture, with its rich history spanning over a millennium, has had a profound influence on modern design. From the sweeping domes of the Ottoman Empire to the intricately patterned tilework of the Alhambra, Islamic architecture is characterized by an emphasis on geometric shapes, symmetry, and elaborate decoration. These elements, which originally served both aesthetic and religious purposes, have transcended their cultural and historical origins and found their way into contemporary architecture. Today, architects around the world draw upon Islamic architectural principles to create spaces that are functional, beautiful, and spiritually resonant. One of the most recognizable features of Islamic architecture is the dome. The use of domes in Islamic structures was not only a practical solution to covering large spaces, but also a symbolic representation of the heavens. The Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, which was converted from a Byzantine church to an Islamic mosque, is a prime example of how the dome has influenced both Christian and Islamic architecture. In modern times, architects have adapted the dome's form to create iconic buildings such as the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and the Reichstag in Berlin. These contemporary designs echo the spiritual and spatial grandeur first perfected in Islamic architectural traditions. Islamic architecture is also notable for its use of intricate patterns and tilework. These designs, often based on mathematical principles, create an illusion of infinite complexity. The Alhambra, a palace and fortress in Granada, Spain, is famous for its stunning tile mosaics that cover walls, ceilings, and floors. These geometric patterns are not only decorative, but also serve to symbolize the infinite nature of Allah. Today, designers incorporate similar motifs in modern homes, hotels, and public spaces, creating environments that combine traditional aesthetics with contemporary needs. The concept of light and space plays a critical role in Islamic architecture. Mosques, palaces, and homes were designed to allow natural light to filter through intricately designed windows and courtyards, creating a sense of tranquility and divinity. This concept has been embraced by modern architects, who often use natural light as a central design element. For example, Norman Foster's design for the Museum of Islamic Art in Doha, Qatar, uses large windows and open spaces to mimic the serenity of traditional Islamic structures while maintaining a sleek, modern aesthetic. Another significant aspect of Islamic architecture is the use of courtyards and gardens. In Islamic tradition, gardens are often symbolic of paradise and serve as spaces for reflection and relaxation. The gardens at the Taj Mahal are perhaps the most famous example of this tradition. In modern design, courtyards and green spaces are increasingly being incorporated into urban environments, providing a sanctuary in bustling cities. This trend reflects the Islamic architectural philosophy that nature and built environments should coexist in harmony. The concept of modularity in Islamic architecture, where structures are built from smaller, repeated units, has also inspired modern design. Islamic architects used repeating elements, such as arches and domes, to create large, harmonious spaces. This modularity has been adapted by modern architects in designing flexible, sustainable buildings. Prefabricated and modular construction techniques popular in modern architecture owe much to these early innovations in Islamic architecture. The influence of Islamic architecture is not limited to buildings in predominantly Muslim countries. Western architects have embraced Islamic principles in a variety of contexts. For example, the glass pyramids of the Louvre Museum in Paris, designed by I.M. Pei, were inspired by the geometric purity found in Islamic art and architecture. The play of light and shadow, a hallmark of Islamic design, is evident in these structures, showing how Islamic aesthetics can be seamlessly integrated into modern Western architecture. The revival of interest in sustainable architecture has also led to a renewed appreciation for the environmental considerations inherent in traditional Islamic buildings. Many Islamic structures were designed to maximize airflow and natural cooling, reducing the need for artificial climate control. Modern architects are now looking back at these techniques as they develop eco-friendly buildings that minimize energy consumption. In conclusion, the influence of Islamic architecture on modern design is profound and far-reaching. Whether through the use of geometric patterns, domes light, or modularity, the principles of Islamic architecture continue to inspire contemporary architects. As the world becomes more connected, the blending of these ancient traditions with modern innovations will likely continue, creating spaces that are not only functional but also deeply meaningful. Article 4. The history and significance of the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal stands as one of the most remarkable engineering feats of the 20th century, a symbol of human innovation and international cooperation. Stretching approximately 50 miles across the Isthmus of Panama, the canal serves as a vital conduit for maritime trade, linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Since its completion in 1914, the canal has dramatically shortened the time required for ships to travel between the two oceans, saving approximately 8,000 nautical miles for vessels previously forced to navigate the treacherous Cape Horn. The canal has not only reshaped global trade but also played a pivotal role in the geopolitical strategies of the nations that have controlled it. The idea of constructing a canal through Central America dates back centuries. Explorers like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan envisioned a waterway that could serve as a shortcut between Europe and Asia. By the 19th century, the United States and France had become particularly interested in the project. The French, led by Ferdinand Lesseps, who had successfully overseen the construction of the Suez Canal, launched an effort in the 1880s to build the Panama Canal. However, their attempt was plagued by poor planning, engineering challenges, and devastating diseases like malaria and yellow fever. By 1889, the French endeavor had collapsed, leaving behind a partially completed canal and immense financial losses. It was the United States that ultimately succeeded where the French had failed. In 1904, after negotiating a treaty with Panama, the U.S. took over the canal project, led by engineer John Frank Stevens and later George W. Goethals. The American construction team employed innovative techniques to overcome the engineering and health challenges that had previously doomed the French effort. The U.S. government invested heavily in sanitation, leading to breakthroughs in the understanding and control of tropical diseases. The canal's design included a system of locks, which allowed ships to be lifted to the level of Gatun Lake and then lowered back down to sea level on the opposite side. The final cost of the canal was around $375 million, but its long-term economic benefits were incalculable. The Panama Canal had immediate and profound effects on global trade. With the canal in operation, shipping routes were drastically shortened, and countries across the world could engage in trade more efficiently. The U.S., in particular, saw its naval and commercial power expand significantly. Control over the canal became a cornerstone of U.S. foreign policy in Latin America, as it provided a strategic military and economic advantage. The canal's importance was not limited to trade. It became a symbol of American technological prowess and geopolitical dominance during the early 20th century. However, control of the Panama Canal has long been a contentious issue. The U.S. maintained sovereignty over the canal until 1977, when President Jimmy Carter signed the Torrijos-Carter Treaties, which gradually transferred control of the canal to Panama. By 1999, Panama had full authority over the canal. Since then, Panama has overseen several major expansions, including the addition of a new set of locks completed in 2016, allowing larger ships to transit the canal. Today, the canal remains one of the most crucial water routes in the world, handling more than 14,000 ships annually and contributing significantly to Panama's economy. The Panama Canal is not only a vital economic asset, but also a geopolitical one. It continues to serve as a point of interest for global powers, particularly the United States and China, both of which have a vested interest in its operation. China has invested in Panama's infrastructure, seeking to increase its influence over the canal and, by extension, global shipping routes. Meanwhile, the US remains concerned about maintaining access to this critical maritime artery. As global shipping continues to expand, the canal's importance is likely to grow even further. The significance of the Panama Canal also extends to environmental and technological considerations. The canal has been lauded for its role in reducing carbon emissions by shortening global shipping routes, but it has also raised concerns about environmental sustainability. The freshwater demands of the lock system, which require large quantities of water to operate, have led to concerns about water scarcity in the region. As Panama seeks to balance economic growth with environmental protection, the future of the canal remains a subject of global interest.